Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, and in this video we're breaking down Welcome to Derry. The It prequel has had its trailer drop for next week's episode, and throughout this video we're going to be breaking it all down. The teaser contains a lot of clues to what's coming and how the show will be expanding on its source material. It's also possible we're seeing the origin of Pennywise and when it took on the moniker Bob Gray. We will of course be doing breakdowns on the show every week as well, so make sure you subscribe for our coverage. With that out of the way though, thank you for clicking this. I'm going to play the trailer and then let's break it down.
Halloran's psychic abilities have been proven, but there's only so much he can do stuck on base pointing at maps, and we're running out of time. Put him in the air. Step right up.
Hallorann! Hallorann!
Do you know what they do to kitty killers in Shawshank?
It won't matter what we tell them unless we can show them proof. Can you help us or not?
Step right up. Step right up.
Now, we begin the trailer with Dick Hallorann. Similar to the last teaser, we start this one off blurry, so the red light hanging above Hallorann's head looks like a red balloon. Last week they did the same thing with the lights from the cinema, so it's a nice little carryover from that. It's hard to tell exactly where he is in the shot though, but it does feel like he's back at the airbase. We can see that his shoulders are soaked as well, and he looks like he's terrified. I do wonder if he's just been down in the sewers and potentially looking up at the tower of floating bodies. This was shown in the Weeks Ahead trailer, and it might be him witnessing this location. This also plays into a scene we see later on in the trailer, so we will circle back to this in a moment. We then see General Shaw speaking to Major Fuller about how Hallorann's psychic powers have been proven. However, they've not really deployed him beyond the base, and there's only so much he can do looking at maps. So they need to put him in the sky to get a better lay of the land. I feel like he's going to get a good look of Derry and possibly pick up some of the locations where the Pennywise artifacts are buried at. We did theorize that the car at the end of episode 2 came from the Bradley gang shooting, which was a big incident involving the creature. And yeah, I do feel like throughout the series he's going to be kind of looking over Derry, finding locations of artifacts, and basically they might bring these together to try and control the creature. But yeah, up in the air they'll get a god's eye view, and in order to do that they need the best pilots the base has to offer. Bring in Leroy and Paulie. Now this might be a stretch, but I do want to point out the helicopter that they're riding in, as it could slightly foreshadow Hallorann and Leroy's later encounter with It. Hallorann is only in the It novel for a few brief sections, and even then he's not using anything like how he is in the show. There, he's pretty much just in the interlude chapter that describes the burning down of the Black Spot, and it doesn't really discuss his psychic abilities, nor do even people really know about them. Now, I have to preface this by saying that in the book, Mike's dad Will is who's in the Leroy role. Will was a soldier stationed at the base, and we didn't really get much about Leroy. However, due to them shifting the story of Mike from the 50s to the 80s, they've given Leroy the backstory of Will. And Will is of course a kid who's going to be like a prototype Mike. So with all that being said, in the interlude, Will is telling the story to Mike, and he describes how he first saw It alongside Hallorann as a giant bird being held up by balloons. "'Twas a bird," he said, "right over the last of those running men, a hawk maybe. What they call a kestrel," I'm not really reading it, "but it was big, never told no one, would have been locked up. That bird was maybe 60 feet from wingtip to wingtip. It was the size of a Japanese Zero, but I seen its eyes, and I think it's seen me." Will said it then swooped down and grabbed a man wearing a KKK robe who was there attacking the property. See, even Pennywise doesn't like racists, mate. This was the Legion of White Decency whose badges appeared in the series, but yeah, Pennywise was just picking people off. We then see Hallorann sitting alone in the back of the helicopter, and he slowly starts opening a cigar box. If you go back to the previous shot, then you can see Fuller holding these in his hand. As he opens up the box, it seems like he begins to shine, and we cut to a scene in the carnival where a man wearing a black top hat tells a young boy to step right up. Really quick, I also just want to point out that all the stuff behind Hallorann is red, which subtly shows us that he's getting closer to It. In the vision, we then see the boy back away in fear and hear Leroy calling Hallorann's name from the cockpit. However, Hallorann is fully absorbed in the shine, and we can see him shaking and sweating from whatever it is he's seeing. Now, this scene in the carnival is most likely a flashback to when Pennywise went by Bob Gray in order to blend in with the citizens of Derry. This happened in 1908, and we'll likely see this character's backstory. This was when it began portraying itself as Pennywise, as it found kids reacted better to a friendly-looking face. Before that, it had been creatures like birds and bears, and basically predators of the wilderness. Pennywise realised it had more chance of luring kids in if it didn't come out and immediately start attacking them. This could be Hallorann witnessing the early days of it as he gets closer to where it crashed into Earth. Also, I don't think it's a coincidence that the carnival guy is wearing a black top hat, which may be a reference to Rose the Hat from Dr. Sleep. In case you haven't read the book or seen the movie, Rose the Hat is the leader of a psychic group of vampires which are called the True Knot, and they hunt children with the Shining. Maybe another stretch, but the carnival worker could indicate some more trouble in store for Hallorann than simply just Pennywise. And yeah, it would be amazing to see the True Knot show up, but either way, I do think that this is the origin of Bob Gray, and if you want to learn more about Pennywise's backstory, guess what, mate? We've just uploaded a video discussing it, which you should definitely go and check out. We then go to a jail cell where Chief Bowers asks Hank if he knows what they do to kid killers in Shawshank. Shawshank is of course another of King's works, and I love how they're tying it in with this prison. The prison is actually mentioned in the book, and yeah, it's just nice that they kind of expanded this into a proper location, because yeah, it's a big Easter egg in the King world. The way they've edited it as well, it gives the impression that Hallorann's psychically seeing this, and it may be a possible feature. With his daughter Ronnie, we also see as someone's written on her locker, "Hatchet Hank's gonna fry." Notice that it's written in red, which is usually not a coincidence in Derry. So this could very well be a message from Pennywise. It's also a possible nod to The Shining and the red rum text that Danny wrote in his trance. I do think though that it was most likely left by one of the members of the Patty Cakes, as they did do something similar with the pickle jars in Lily's locker. They also called Ronnie's dad Hatchet Hank in the last episode, so yeah, makes sense and might not be Pennywise, but he's just turning people into dicks, mate. We then see Lily and Ronnie in the school bathroom, seemingly talking about Ronnie's dad. And Lily says it doesn't matter what they say unless they can prove it. She then shows off her sweet 60s portable camera, which is so light and compact. This also confirms that Lily will indeed be getting out of Juniper Hill, which is where we left her last episode. So yeah, I'm guessing that she's going to come out and be like, oh look, I got your dad locked. Well, they were going to lock him up anyway, but yeah, I did stitch on him to be fair, so we're going to get him out. Either way, we then get the formation of this decade's losers club as Lily and Ronnie recruit Will and the other kid in their mission to clear Hank's name. Calling him the other kid, I mentioned it in episode 2. They haven't listed the children's names as of making this video on IMDb, and I've got no idea what he's called, so apologies. If you know his name, leave it in the comments below. That's what comments are for. Anyway, after learning how smart Will is during their time in detention, Ronnie probably thinks that will be able to help them find a way to capture it on film, with the other kid just kind of being along for the ride. Come on, other kid. I don't know how successful this will be though, as it can of course change its appearance and psychically manipulate people. I even think they could get the picture and then they go to show to the adults and they're like, looks like nothing to me. Wait, is that the worst YouTuber ever? Yes, it is. But yeah, we did see something similar with Bev where she had the blood explode in the bathroom and then brought her dad in to be like, what the hell's going on? Her dad was like, can't say shit. Get the fuck out of here. Now we then cut back to the helicopter with Hallorann and can hear the audio of the carnival worker saying step right up as we flash between a couple of shots including a scene of the kids sitting around a fire. We then get Will walking through a doorway holding Lily's camera and a close-up shot of what seems to be Hallorann's eye. If you pause at the right second, you can see a body floating up to what is most likely the body tower in the sewers. There's then a shot of Will, who seemingly dropped the camera in the sewers, and you can see Pennywise walk past the doorway behind him. I think it's Pennywise, might not be, disclaimer there. We then get a quick shot of a doll splashing into water, which seems to confirm that they are in fact in the sewers, and a match gets lit in the dark. This is foreshadowing the burning down of the black spot by the Legion of White Decency, with this scene most likely being a vision by Pennywise used to scare Hallorann. After that, we then get a creepy shot of an old man. I think this might be the man in yellow from or well, the actor playing him. We then see the carnival trailer for the great Pennywise, the dancing clown, which we saw in It Chapter 1 when Pennywise bust out those sweet dance moves. It also appeared in the picture of Bob Gray and his daughter, Mrs. Kirsch. The sign then falls down in front of Hallorann, who steps back in terror, and he's faced with two glowing yellow eyes. This is why Hallorann was so shaken and wet at the beginning, I think, as it most likely happens after seeing it for the first time in the sewers. It's also worth noting that due to Hallorann being able to shine, he's one of the only adults who can see it in its different forms. For example, when Lily was freaking out at the supermarket, Hallorann would have been able to see what Lily was experiencing, as opposed to the other adults who just saw her throwing around pickle jars. You nutcase, send her to the asylum. Give her a lobotomy, that's like $2 of pickles. Now it seems that episode 3 will be very Hallorann centered, with him uncovering the mystery behind of it and its connection to Derry. This is one of the most interesting aspects of the show for me, as it expands on King's work with one of his most interesting and mysterious characters, who seemingly has a big role to play in both of the author's best works. Will they go with a timeline where he survives like in the books, or will he end up getting murdered by Jack like what happens in the movie? Maybe this series will answer that, but that wraps up the teaser for episode 3, and I'd of course love to hear all your thoughts below. Also, huge shout out to TJ for getting all this together. I've been ill and basically in bed for the whole weekend because I ate a lot of candy on Halloween, woke up in the middle of the night, really bad belly. Don't know if it was that, don't know if I caught a bug, but I was knocked out for most of Saturday and Sunday. But I'm back now, and if you want to follow him on Twitter, then check him out at the Fat Thor. Also, even though Halloween's come and gone, we've still got lots of horror-themed shirts, which you can see behind me. Stuff like our Weapons one, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Alien, Predator, Derry, Pennywise. We've got loads of stuff at the merch store, and the more you get, the more of a discount you get. So buy more. Why don't you spend more money? We also have kid sizes. Huge thank you to everyone who's picked one up though. And if you want to follow us on Instagram and keep up to date with what we're doing, then check us out at Heavy Spoilers. Also, we are doing members only videos a lot more at the moment because we've got just lots of stuff in the bank, mate. And it's either a case of like putting 3-hour-long breakdowns out every single day or just giving them to members a week early. So we appreciate everyone who does that. I know some of you guys think we're dickheads for putting stuff behind a paywall. It's just because we've got it made, and it's like, well, I don't want to release them all at once because then we're going to have like loads of videos releasing one day and no one's going to have the time to watch it. So if you want to join our members, get to see those, we really appreciate it. It's just 99 cents a month. So if you guys feel like giving that to see some videos early and just kill some time until death, that's much appreciated. But if you want something else to watch for free, we've got a video on screen right now, probably the latest It video, Welcome to Derry video, where we point out lots of Easter eggs, lots of things you missed, and talk about the book in general. So I'll see you over there after this. Take care. Peace.